Alright, run through. Hey, it's Scott Park Phillips here in the snow, and I keep wanting to do this like a sort of a primer to like, what is push hands, how does it start, how does it progress, where does it go, what can you do with it, and just like sort of run through the games as they are. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So the first game is he pushes on me, and I create a really good structure. So I can do this with an extra hand, right? And so he pushes on me, and he's trying to move my center, trying to get me to move my foot, and I'm deflecting. And already what you can see is I'm adjusting my structure so his force goes to the ground. Okay. This actually takes a little while to develop. Right? It's not like a given that people are going to be able to do that. And then what people do here is they transition that exercise to this, like how little tension can I have, and then I'll redirect. So he goes, and I have a root in any position. Yeah, you can push there. I have a root in any position, right? And I'm going to deflect his force and give him something back. And then what the next thing they do in this sort of training, and you can see we're on something slippery here, so it's kind of fun to see that. The next thing people do is that they'll develop particular types of outward power, and the first levels of those are very simple. Like he pushes and I roll back, right? Or he pushes and I pump, right? So I'm blowing up against him. Or he pushes, I come under him and then project, right? These are what you call jin, and people get obsessed with them and they think that's the subject. This is not the subject. This is external martial arts refined. It's not the push hands game, although it's certainly worth learning at the beginning. Then there's a whole lot about how you grab and lock, that kind of stuff. For sure, it's a great place to do china of various types. And then there's the more amorphous pushing. So I touch and I sense into his body, for something that seems solid. And then I like lift the ground to catch him. Lift the ground or squish into the ground in order to, it's still from the feet. It's from the feet. But a force is coming through. And you'll see that this way too. This is called neijin, or inner power, right? Where I'm gathering up a force and releasing it. Gathering it up in the body and releasing it. But this is an on-off switch. It's too slow in real fighting. Even though many masters are good at it, it doesn't beat quick external fighting. It just doesn't. It's cool. It's a cool thing to learn. But then you have to unlearn it if you want to get to the next level, as is always true, because the highest level is emptiness. So and you can be, you can make your body really, really soft to get that effect, because I'm looking for some hardness in his body, and he's looking for something in me. And I melt. So I'm practicing my defense melt, but it's still the same game because I'm still transferring his force to the ground. Even if I put it outside my body, this is the next level. See here, I'm letting it in and I'm wiggling around it. Anjing, huajing, I keep it outside. Now it's much harder. This is where you start to develop the counterbalance skills. So now we basically discard everything we learned to get to the next level. So the counterbalance skills are based on when he pushes, I push. Same time. This automatically uproots both of us. If I don't uproot when he does it, I have to give my structure. I have to yield my structure somehow. It could be my arm structure. I have to yield. If he counterbalances and I don't, I'm automatically doing it. If he pushes and I don't, I'm now fighting him by and I'm leaning. Now he can suddenly let go. Now I'm smart, so I didn't fall, right? But this is an on-off switch, and he can hit me if we're playing for fighting game, a more fighty game. So you want to develop this counterbalance pushing away at the same time, and then The more dynamic one is you both pull at the same time, right? Suddenly. And the static ones is you lean on each other. Everyone does this. This is the basic practice. We already know that one. And then you lean back from each other. So you get those 4, and you should be able to do them all while you're fighting. Like, these are continuous, right? So you're just playing a counterbalance game here. I don't care about winning. I care about keeping my counterbalance active. So I'm just developing that, right? And this is it's really just happening in the horizontal plane. There's no up down. You will win against a lot of people. Now, I'm going to play the old game while he's playing the new game. I'm wiggling. I am losing, but I can still reposition to win. So a lot of people get stuck there. They won't move to the next level because they can beat someone who's just the next level up. This is what's called like the emptier cup. I know, it's cliche, but it's true. It's true. Because as soon as he can do the loosey-goosey root thing, right? Well, I'm counterbalancing, like, oh, it's still kind of hard to get him. I could go, he's doing it. I could go wrestling, though. Like, he has no defense against me wrestling. But whatever. Which is why you see it collapse into wrestling so often. But anyway, so he's loosey-goosey, right? But now I add up-down. What the hell? I have up-down power now. Like, I don't care, loosey-goosey you are, just take your throat. It's just like, you're done. And then people go, you cheated. You're like, no, I didn't cheat. You didn't defend your neck. Because I have up-down power, right? All you have is a horizontal loosey thing. And maybe you have some gin or some magic force that comes from the feet. But if I have up-down power, right? So you want your arm to be like a tree trunk falling. It's just dead. Not just here, but the whole thing is dead. So then we just practice, like, can you give the other guy dead arm? Can you give me a dead, I'm giving him structure, can you give me a dead arm here? And my student is failing the demonstration. Oh, try the other side. Because he's getting this most of the time, so. It just depends where it is in your brain, whether you can pull it off. There it is, but see how he pulled in? It's because I've been giving him too much new information. What I'm doing, my arm is dead, I have the counterbalance game going, and I'm connected. My elbow and knee can connect like that. So he gives me force, and I'm on him too. Like, even if I'm lower down, I'm on him like a cat climbing a tree. And he's really trying to stop me. He's really trying to. But I'm like a cat climbing a tree, and I just connect. And this arm is dead. There's no force. People think I'm using this muscle. No. This muscle is also dead. This is part of the whole shoulder complex. So you got, that's down. And then up, if he pushes down, right, up, so I put him on my back. Right? I could pull back to do it. That's not it. Although that's good strategy sometimes. Just put him on my back. But only once you have the counterbalance does that make any sense. And only once you have the front connection can you get the back connection. So they pile up. The skill sets pile up. But you should be able to just do this in African dance. I've been saying that. Like, all that stuff is still there. Whatever it is I'm doing. Something, right? I haven't lost any of that. So this can be used at full speed, full power for fighting. No reason you can't use it. Will it win? That's the other question. But you can use these tricks. They are tricks. The counterbalance is amazing because it creates this illusion of unstoppable power. Because if you think about it, okay, here he knows the fist is coming. He either moves out of the way or he tries to stop it, right? In slow motion, right? Here he's going to try and stop it. Now, he thinks this should stop it. But if I deliver it while I'm going backwards, his brain thinks, wait, why is it so strong? Because I'm moving here. I didn't actually move my fist. I met him, I just moved backwards. But I was able to go through and his brain goes, wow, he's overpowering me. So what most people do instead of what he just did there, most people will yield the arm or yield it and try to redirect. Right, try and push me away or push me up. A lot of people will push up, right. Try to push up. I'm messing up so you can see what would happen if I turned off half of my scope. But the camera overheated, so you didn't catch the last minute and a half of that video, so I'm just adding it now with my wife. So we were just showing that she stops, she puts force here to stop me. I can create the illusion that my fist is moving, and see, she yields. Even though I didn't move my fist at all, I moved backwards. See, I did this. When she pushes on me and I do that, it creates the illusion. Anyway, that's that part. Put 1 foot forward. Great. So you can then take that information, that counterbalance information, and do it here. If she holds me here, right, instead of moving my center of mass back, I can rotate. I'll just do it with one hand. I can rotate the axis between my fist and my foot to create unusual, it's falling power, but it's so unusual if we do both, right? She doesn't know where it's coming from, and then I change, and I use that rotation, the same rotation here on the other foot. So I'm using counterbalance in a rotational way. As if I was holding on the wall and I just tipped this way. And this kind of trick allows, we're playing, she pushes me, it allows me to get bizarre twisting powers. It just depends. But because my wife doesn't have much martial arts experience, so she usually yields to protect her root. So anyway, that's one thing. And then the next thing, so if she gives me a lot of force, she's really strong, right? Here, I do all the things to collect my body, and she's winning, right? So what I do is I counterbalance in a different way. And this, I'll show it simply with just one finger. So here, she's got strength here, right? She can beat me. But if I make that point completely still, can win. Now that's an invisible counterbalance, and my brain doesn't know I counterbalanced. It just knows I kept this point still. So a lot of people know a little bit of counterbalance skills without knowing how to do it. But I can do the same thing here and move my center. I just have to make sure that this is relative to this and not to my foot. And I'll have unstoppable power. Now you see what she just did, which is what we were doing before in the video. So I use counterbalance, and what she does is she yields a little and then pushes me up or pushes me away. Yields here a little and pushes me away. Yes, like that. Right. Again. Right. So a lot of people will do this kind of power. And how do I stop her? Even though I have unstoppable power, I have up, down, right? So what I do is it looks like I'm leaning now, right? I am leaning, in fact. I'm leaning now, right? And so she knows how to deal with that, right? She knows how to stop me if I'm leaning, right? So I make it look like I'm leaning and attack her, not with my arm, but with my center. Right? And my center isn't my center line here. Center is my mass controlled over my foot. So my chest, it's like I'm dancing, my chest moves over my foot. So when I touch here, my mass moves. She reads it as I'm leaning, and she pushes back, right? Because if I'm leaning, she's gonna, or try to yield, try to make me fall. Either way, if she tries to yield, make me fall, I just hit her. I got a clear shot. But if she pushes back, right, well, that will work here if I'm leaning. She can push back hard, and I push back really hard directly. Don't lean back, just push me hard. She can push me back up, right? So, but I make it look like I'm leaning by moving my center, yeah. And this I'm being very nice, because it is my wife. Do you see what I'm doing? So this gets, and this you can absolutely use in fighting. She puts a lot of force on me. It's the same thing. There's nothing there to stop her. Again, it looks like leaning. If I lean, she can easily stop this, right? It looks like leaning, but it's not. I'm counterbalancing as I go. Boom. And again, not with my center line. Or another way to put that is this higher level skill, because we're in our last 20 seconds, is I could move back, right? this is unstoppable. She'll read this as unstoppable power. But what I'm doing is, as I'm doing that, I also move this center, and it goes straight through. Right? So I feel, what it feels like is your mind feels like it's this incredible predator, like a wild animal. But your body has no resistance. So it's a very strange feeling, like I feel completely just, oh, I'm happy. But my mind is super attacking like a predator. And here, another test you would do here is she makes it really hard for me to move my arms, right? She's a lot of force there, right? Now, I could be tricky and come around, maybe, right? People do that, but I don't do that at all. I make my arms as empty as possible. And I just move my back, and my center goes. Wow. The experience of unstoppable power. Again, if I tried to do that by leaning, if I try to do that by leaning, it won't work, right? Try to do that by leaning. If I try to do that by coming up, and she knows, don't let me come up, yeah, it won't work. But here, if my arms are completely dead, so she can't read it, and I attack with my whole center, there's nothing to stop me. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much. This is how to sort of push hands progression. You're supposed to bow now.
I am.
Okay. Thanks. Hey everybody, check out my new book. It's full of unparalleled wonders. It's literally the best thing written on Tai Chi. And you can get it on Amazon.com. Thanks.